All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast real estate tip. And today I'm here to break down the 6 overall steps to building and scaling a massively successful real estate team and or a massively successful real estate brokerage. And the reason why I'm including both in here, talking about a team and a brokerage, is for this simple fact that the fundamentals to building and scaling a truly successful real estate team and a truly successful real estate brokerage are absolutely identical. Now, I get there's some nuances to the models, and really at the end of the day, a team is really just a brokerage inside of a brokerage where maybe you're going out there and leveraging, as bricks and mortar, you're leveraging some liability, maybe you're leveraging a designated broker, but the overall fundamentals that we're going to cover here today, these 6 fundamentals when it comes to scaling a successful team or scaling a successful real estate brokerage, are absolutely 100% identical. So before I jump into these 6 fundamental steps, though, because these are the steps that when I'm working with team leaders and brokerage owners on a like a one-on-one or on a coaching basis, and they're wanting to go out there and scale into building, again, a highly successful real estate team or business, these are the 6 things that we laser focus on, make sure they get in place, make sure that they get right, and make sure that they, do brilliantly, that allows them to massively scale on a huge front. Now, the first thing, though, is just, answering the question as to why you might want to go out there and build a team or a brokerage. And I'm not saying that it's for everybody, but look, the reality is this, is if you want to create a true business, and by a true business, I mean build something that allows you to make the money that you want to make, but eventually allows you to have the time, the autonomy, the freedom to go out there and enjoy life. Okay, it's going to take you building some element of a real estate business. And the 2 most popular ways to do that in our industry, there's other ways to go out there and do it, but the 2 most, popular are building a real estate team and or a real estate brokerage. Now, when I'm talking about a business is something that, okay, you built that you can go disappear from for a month, 2 months, 2 years, and it's still running and operating without your day-to-day involvement. Because otherwise, until you build that out, you've got a job. You don't have a business. You've got a job. When you stop, it stops. So if you are somebody that wants to go out there and build a true business, build a machine that allows you to go out there and make the money that you want to make, again, gives you that freedom and autonomy to go out there and enjoy life and do the shit that you want to do, and eventually have some element of a sellable product. So you're not just making money as you're doing it and building it, but then, okay, you can go out there and sell this thing for a high multiple and get a big payday at the end of this. This podcast is 100% for you. So before I jump into these 6 actual steps, and again, these 6 actual fundamentals, not just steps, but these actual fundamentals, these actual foundations, where you got to nail all 6 of these things and do this right if you want to go out there and scale a team or a brokerage. But before I jump into those, look, real quick, if you are an individual agent, if you are a team leader, or you are a real estate brokerage owner, and your business is not exactly where you want and need it to be, it's like maybe you're operating down here, but your true potential is up here. And look, your business might be declining, might be stagnant, might be growing, just not growing at the exact pace that you want it to grow at. If that is you, I invite you to schedule a 100% free, 100% zero pressure Zoom coaching call with me personally. We're on this 1 hour long Zoom coaching call. We're going to do a deep dive into your business, breaking down where your business is currently at, what your 12-month goals are, what your long-term goals and visions are for your real estate business, what you're currently doing, what your biggest bottlenecks and obstacles are. Then from there, I'm going to break down what my personal recommended strategy is based on your goals and your own unique situation. There's a lot of nuances that come into play here when we're building our real estate business. So based on your own unique situation, I'm going to break down what my recommended strategy is to get you from exactly where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So if you want to remove all that guesswork, if you want to have extreme clarity within under an hour period of time on exactly what you must do to go out there and get from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible, I invite you to schedule a 100% free Zoom coaching call with me personally. You can do that by going to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. So real quick, if you book that, which I highly encourage all of you guys to do, I promise you I'm not here to waste your time. I will make this sure that this is massively impactful, massively powerful for you. You will not leave this Zoom coaching call without having full clarity on exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. So when you book that, you're going to land on a quick video. I encourage you, I want you to watch that whole video. It's a quick video, but that will allow you to be the most prepped for this call so we can get the most out of it. Okay, so now let's just move forward here and jump on into these 6 foundational steps to going out there and growing and scaling your overall real estate brokerage. Now with this, And this is, sometimes with coaching clients, like we might spend a year, 2 years, sometimes 2 months, depending on what level that they're at, really nailing and getting these dialed in. So there's a lot that goes into each of these. So I'm going to be covering these at a very high level, but the most important element is that you know what these 6 steps are, because when you know what you got to build out, know what to focus on, then from there you can figure out the how and so forth from there, right? Okay, so number 1 is you got to make sure that you are nailing your comp structure and your overall model. Now, that can be different based on whether you're a team or a brokerage. And look, let's face it, a lot of brokerages operate as teams and have different levels in there. And a couple things to think about here, whether you're a team or whether you're a brokerage. One thing that I highly encourage you to consider, one of the big mistakes I made early on in my journey, is not understanding the 3 reasons why agents will leave you over time, right? The number one reason, and these aren't in any specific order. So number 1 is actually the least reason why agents leave you. But number 1, okay, somebody internally does something to piss them off. Now that can be minimized based on building a strong culture and whatnot, but that can happen because it could be agent to agent or another staff. Like there can be some element of that's out of your control. But number 1, somebody does something internally to piss somebody off. Okay, number 2, your agents are not producing. Agents that are producing, making money, hitting their goals tend to be happy. Retention, tends to be very strong. You're able to retain them for a long period of time, and turnover rate tends to be very low. Okay, then number 3, your agents eventually outgrow you, where you don't have, and this is one of the mistakes I made very early on. When I say very early on, was about the first 6-7 years of building my team, is I get these agents up to kicking ass and producing, between $10 and $20 million on an annual basis with their own gross volume sales. But they'd get to the point where they wanted to go out there and start building their own teams. And I didn't have a place to grow. So they had no choice but to leave me. So with those top producers, eventually, all of them end up leaving because I didn't have an adaptive model. So something to be considering when you're thinking about, okay, what is your model going to be? And within your model, what is the different comp structures that you're going to have? So with me personally, I have 3 different models. When I say this, I have, really 3 different paths that they can take inside our organization. We run the, a typical kind of team, a style division where it's okay. We're providing a lot of opportunities, providing a lot of leads, providing all the systems, and that's going to be a specific split. Right. Then from there, we have what we call a full service division, which is in there. You get essentially everything that you get as part of the team, but you don't get leads. So you get, all the equipment, all the systems, all the coaching, all the training, all the equipment, everything but leads. Okay. And that is a different split. So because the agents get to the point where maybe they want the support, they still need the systems, they still need the guidance, they still need the very high level of mentorship, but they're able to go out there and self-procure deals. They built up their book of business. So that's kind of our second tier. Then we've got, what we call our entrepreneur model, which is more of like a traditional brokerage model, right? Where, as they evolve and they have their own systems and they, have their own staff and they want to go out there and start building up their own teams. Okay, then boom, they can progress up in that model, or we can recruit them in that model. So I have different tiers that allows them to continue to grow with us, where I can continue to help coach, support, mentor them through the different phases of their journey. So, and I'm not saying that you got to follow my model. I'm just saying you need to identify, okay, what is your model going to be, model and or models, and then within there, then identify what your comp structure is going to be, what your compensation structure is. Now, my recommendation when it comes to comp structures is to reverse engineer this. So many I see so many posts in Facebook groups, and I get these questions all the time too, like, oh, Josh, what splits do you recommend that I have? Right. And that is a wrong question to be asking. I get why you might be asking that question, but really you want to reverse engineer this based on what the model is that you're offering, what the level of support, what the level of systems are that you're doing, and then reverse engineer what your comp structures are to ensure that you are hitting the healthy profit margins that you need to be hitting. Number 1 rule in business is don't lose money. Number 2 rule is, okay, make sure that you're making money always. But number 1 rule is make sure, number 1, that you are not losing money. Then from there, hopefully not that you're just not losing money. You're offsetting all your costs, at least, breaking even. But then from there, hopefully you're making money, and start thinking about this and really reverse engineering this. This is, again, mistakes that cost me millions of dollars on my overall journey, the 20 years that I've been, building my real estate company, that I didn't think through early on. I didn't have, when I first jumped in this game, there was no podcast like this. So, I didn't have some of this guidance, so I had to learn some of this stuff the hard way, but not think, one of my big mistakes was I didn't think through certain scenarios. I didn't think through certain things. Like, as an example, okay, you bring on an agent because it's going to happen. You bring on an agent, they're with you, they never sell a single deal. They end up getting out of the business. Well, it's just going to happen. You're in this business long enough, that's going to happen, and probably happen more than you think it's going to happen, right? There's just a lot of people that say they want it, they say they're committed. Words are hollow, actions show what they truly value. We all know what the failure rate is inside this industry. So thinking about that, okay, if I bring on somebody, I recruit somebody, and I bring them onto my organization, and they never close a deal, how can I ensure that, number one, I don't lose money off of them, but then number two, how can I ensure that I'm profitable through that, ideally, profitable in that situation. So this is where, again, taking the time to reverse engineer what your compensation structure is going to be based on the value adds that you're offering. And whether you're running a team or a brokerage, and then even that within the style of team and the brokerage that you're running, if you're giving leads, if you're providing full support staff, all the equipment, and all of that, obviously that splits are going to have to be much more, intense for me to go out there and cover all of my hard costs into that and ensure that I'm hitting the margins that I need to hit, versus, okay, if I'm running more of a traditional brokerage, I'm not providing all of those things, and the agents are responsible for a lot of their own equipment, responsible maybe for their own business cards. Like essentially, they're just a place to hang their, most brokerage are what's a place to hang your real estate license. They don't really give you a shit, right? Just cut your commission checks when they come in. Okay, that might be a lower split structure, right? Your margins, but anyway, enough on that. But hopefully you can grasp that concept of what I'm saying there is make sure that you're running the math on this, running through different scenarios and reverse engineering what your comp structures need to be based on the margins that you want to and need to hit inside your real estate business. That will save you an insane amount of future pain. Okay, so then from there, so number one is nailing your comp structure and your model. Number two then is making sure that you are nailing your onboarding process, right? So many of team leaders and broker owners do this ass backwards, no different than most agents do in their own business. And what I mean by ass backwards, okay, what do most agents do? They go out there and they start trying to go out there and generate clients. They go out there and do all this lead gen, but before they do that and they start generating all these leads, before they have a conversion machine in place. Okay, before I'm going to go out there and start generating any leads, I'm going to make sure that I've got the right follow-up protocol, I've got the right systems in place and the right tracking system in place to ensure that I have a place to feed those leads to, and I have that conversion machine so I can go out there and get the cost per acquisition, the conversions that I need to out there. So I'm not just wasting an abundance of time and energy, at that lead gen, which is what the vast majority of agents do. I talk to so many agents, they're like, oh, I got a lead gen problem. That's my biggest obstacle in my business. I can't even think of a time where I met one single agent that actually had a lead gen problem, right? The problem almost every single time as we do a deep dive and break down their business is their inability to convert those leads into appointments. They have no follow-up protocol or a hardcore lacking follow-up protocol. They don't have a CRM, or they've never logged in. They haven't taken the time to master their CRM. They haven't fed the right instructions in their CRM. They don't know tonality. They don't know scripting. They don't know, they have no idea how to go out there and follow up with the right process, with the right skill set to convert these leads into appointments. So it doesn't matter how many leads they go out there and generate, they're just going to do a shitty job with this. So thinking of that in this way, okay, before you go out there and you start recruiting to your organization, your team or your brokerage, okay, let's make sure that you have the fulfillment piece in place. And this is what I look at, okay, your product as a team or a brokerage really boils down to, okay, your ability to facilitate the experience that your agents want and need to get them from where they're at to where they want to go. That is our job as team leaders and brokerage owners. Our job, the reason that we exist solely in our agents' lives and worlds at the highest level is to get them from where they're at to where they want to go, aka accomplishing their goals in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So I want to reverse engineer this before I start stacking in agents. Because you start stacking in agents, you're just going to let them down. You're going to have high turnover rate, and you're just going to exhaust a bunch of time and energy there. So we want to make sure that we got that conversion machine in place. So step number one of the conversion machine. So this is, step number two of the fundamentals, but step number one of the conversion machine here is getting that initial onboarding protocol in place. So when you think of your onboarding protocol, so an example, my real estate company, I have a 14-day onboarding protocol, onboarding process. Now, the 14 days, that's a target date. look, if I've got an agent, maybe that's part-time or that has a lot going on in their life and they don't have a lot of time to devote to it, it might take them 30 days. I'm not saying if somebody takes more than 14 days, I'm like, peace out, see you later. And then look, if somebody's full-time and they got a bunch of time allocation, they might get it done in 7 days. But the goal is to get everybody as much as we possibly can to encourage them to get this done within the first 14 days. Now, what are we walking them through in that first 14-day onboarding process? Not going to go through my whole protocol because that would take too long here for this podcast, but overall, I'm looking at, okay, what are the essentials? I'm not looking to overtrain them because then we're going to have part 2 of this, which is the ongoing, training and support. So this initial onboarding though is just what are the essentials? What are the essential tools, the essential systems, the essential pieces of information, knowledge that we need to get them, that they need to have to go out there and start procuring deals and producing deals ASAP. Like my whole obsession with my onboarding is, okay, making sure that everybody that gets through that is putting deals on the board in 90 days or less. So with that, now for me, going through my onboarding protocol, there's 5 things that we really hone in on and focus on. They're getting their tracking system set up, getting their CRM fully set up and dialed in, and making sure that they know how to utilize it effectively to go out there and convert, right? Tracking system and CRM systems are most 2 important systems as agents that we're using inside of a real estate business. Okay, then making sure that their buyer consultation listing presentation is dialed in, making sure their past client sphere of influence strategy is dialed in, then making sure that we identify the right client acquisition strategy, AKA their lead gen lead follow protocol, to go out there and start generating customers ASAP. And that is obviously we got to have walk through goal setting and business planning, get clarity on what their goals are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, what their immediate goals are, long-term goals are. All of those things come into place of putting together that right strategy for them, because every agent is different, right? People have different strengths and different weaknesses and, different targets that they want to go out there and hit, and different ways that they want to grow in their business. Real estate is that one size fits all. So for me, I really cater that to the agent that we bring on and make sure that we have them focusing on the right things in the right ways that's allowing them to accomplish what they want to accomplish. But that is all I'm laser focused on. That 14-day onboarding strategy is, again, what are the tools, knowledge, resources, what are the things that they need, the essentials that they need so they can start stacking deals as soon as possible. Okay, so that's number 2, is nailing the onboarding process. Step number 2. Okay, fundamental step number 3 then is nailing the ongoing training and support infrastructure inside of our team or brokerage. What is that going to look like ongoing? We got the onboarding, the immediate, so we can get them to start putting deals on the board right away, right? How you onboard somebody, how you bring somebody on really sets the momentum for the rest of their career and the rest of their experience with you. But then what does ongoing look like? Right. So we can continue keeping them producing, get them producing and making sure that they're achieving their goals. So coming up with that, what is your ongoing infrastructure? What is your ongoing training? What is your ongoing support, ongoing meetings? Right. There's a lot that goes into that, but making sure that you have that ongoing support, with that, for those different phases. So then we can keep them going out there and ensuring that because I know I'm being repetitive here, but this is so damn important, and success happens through repetition. Us as team leaders and brokerage owners, we exist in our agents' minds to get them from where they're at to where they want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient time possible, right? So the most effective, efficient, profitable way possible to get them from where they're at to where they want to go. That's all they want. Right? Is like, okay, like here's where I'm at, experiencing these pain points. There's where I'm at. It's why they come join us, because we're hopefully articulating that we have a better path to get them from where they're at to where they want to go, their current brokerage, their current team, their current environment, got them to where they're at, but isn't getting them to where they want to go, right? So this is the whole point of recruiting. We sell them that, okay, we're the best environment to get you from where you're at to where you want to go. Now, the fulfillment piece with initial onboarding and then the ongoing is to ensure that I'm fulfilling on that. Now, I can't execute for them. But there's a lot of people that talk a big game. There's so many people in our industry that talk a big game and, I'm so good. I'm such a hard worker. Well, words are hollow. Actions show what you truly value, right? We all know the stats out there. The average agent would make more money working at McDonald's full time than they would in the real estate business. 7% of agents make 93% of the income. 93% of the agents in our industry are broke as a joke. Can barely just sustain in this industry. They just figure out a way to kind of repeat the same mediocre year for the rest of their career. That's the majority of our industry. Right. So I'm not going to sit there and say that's my job to get them from where they're at to where they want to go. No, They got to execute. They got to commit. They got to do the work. It's my job. It's your job. It's our job as leaders to facilitate the best environment for those that choose to do the work and that choose to plug in to get from where they want to where they want to go. So my job is to eliminate the guesswork. My obsession when it comes to my onboarding and my ongoing training and support is that, okay, there's never a situation where an agent can come join my organization and ever come to me and say, Josh, I didn't succeed because I didn't know what to do. I didn't succeed because I didn't have the training. I didn't have the roadmap. I didn't have the support. I didn't have the resources. All they can ever self-admit, if they're willing to not be a victim and not be a whiner and actually, take responsibility here, but all they can do is self-admit that, hey, I didn't succeed because I chose to not show up and do the work. So that's my obsession, is making sure I'm eliminating any excuse or reason outside of the fact that they choose to not execute and do the volume of execution that they need. I want to make sure that they have the training, the resources, the equipment, the systems, the support, everything that they need, where if they choose to plug in, they can get from where they're at to where they want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner, much more so than any of our competitors in the marketplace. So that is nailing that onboarding and that ongoing. Okay, so number 3 is your ongoing training and support. Okay, so step number 4 here then is nailing what your recruiting strategy is going to be. Now, your recruiting strategy is going to be twofold, right? Because you're going to need 2 different types of recruits as you're growing your highly successful team or scaling your highly successful brokerage. We're talking about agent recruiting, which is where probably most of your thought processes are going right now. We're talking about recruiting strategy, and I'll break down and elaborate on that a little bit here. But then we got to recruit the right key staff members inside your organization, right? As you're bringing on staff and continue to grow and scale this, where eventually, like I said, with a business, what we talked about at the very beginning of this podcast, eventually your objective is to fire yourself and replace yourself out of every position in the organization. So then now that you have this machine and you got people running the machine for you, so you are no longer necessary inside your own organization when it comes to day-to-day operations and production and all of these different things. So recruiting is going to be twofold, right? Like we got to have the acquisition component of amazing staff and your leadership personnel and so forth, but then also on the agent side. Now, when it comes to agent recruiting, look, with this business, and the reason I'll bring this up is because, look, if you're a team leader, a brokerage owner, aspiring team leader, and broker owner, you guys all understand this component here of going out there and recruiting buyers and sellers, right? Well, recruiting agents is the same thing. Right? In this business, you're either recruiting buyers, recruiting sellers, recruiting agents, or eventually recruiting your leadership team to go out there and do those things for you. So no different than if I'm going after buyers and sellers, what am I going to do? I'm going to go out there and identify, my 2, 3, or 4 different consistent lead gen strategies. Then from them, I'm going to make sure I have a CRM. I've got my presentation. I've got my follow-up protocols, right? So I have those in my business. And then from there, you track the numbers and you know how to go out there and play the game. So based on my average agent productivity, if I want my business to grow by X percentage, well, now I can reverse engineer that in my business plan and know exactly how many agent recruits that I need to go out there and recruit over the next 12 months to hit those targets. I know what my turnover rate is. So I know exactly, how many agents I need to recruit after that prior to turnover to make sure I'm hitting those numbers. So then from there, I can start just like in our going after buyers and sellers. Let's just say, okay, you're converting 1 out of 42 with your Facebook leads and exactly how many dials, combos, appointments set, and so forth with that. Okay, now you know exactly what you got to do to win every day, every week, every month to hit your recruiting targets and inside your business. So you want to treat it the same way, have that intentional game plan to go out there and do that, right? But then the secondary component of this is making sure that you have your recruiting staff and you're recruiting your eventual leadership team, right? Like eventually, okay, you're going to need somebody to, handle all the day-to-day operations. You're going to need somebody to, be that designated broker, if you're doing a brokerage or depending on what your leverage component piece is there, whether it's a team or a brokerage, but then eventually you're going to have somebody doing the agent recruiting and all the onboarding and all that support, all those things for you. If you want to create a true business that doesn't need your involvement on a day-to-day basis, so you can go out there and make the money you want to make, but enjoy life and have the autonomy of schedule and all of those things, you got to be able to nail these. So you got to have the ability to go out there and identify and know when, and identify, okay, when do I hire the right people? Like who to hire, when to hire them, and really go out there and master the hiring process. And I know I've recorded many podcasts on hiring staff and hiring leadership team. So you can go watch on that. I'm not going to, spend an hour walking you through how to hire staff or recruit agents in here, but making sure that you're honing in this step and really mastering it. One of my biggest mistakes throughout my whole journey here wasn't mastering that early enough on in the overall process. I mean, I spent years and years and years just winging the agent recruiting and winging hiring staff. And it's one of these things that, again, cost me millions of dollars throughout this journey. It was a massively painful lesson for me to go out there and learn. Okay, so then it's step number 5. So just to repeat here, because step number 1 is nailing your comp structure and model. Step number 2 is nailing your onboarding protocol. Step number 3 is nailing your ongoing training and support. Step number 4 is nailing your recruiting strategy, recruiting for agents and recruiting for staff. Okay, step number 5 is making sure that you're honing in and dialing in your systems, processes, and tracking. So everything that we talked about just thus far, I got to make sure each element of this is tracked. Right? Every essential KPI inside your business. So when it comes to recruiting agents, you should be tracking all of that per lead source, so you know how much energy and effort it takes to go out there and gain one recruit. So you can create that into a predictable, create predictability there. Then from there, okay, when somebody signs on with you till they start contributing to average agent productivity, so that would be classified as your quote unquote onboarding status. Okay, you should be tracking that, how long people are averaging your onboarding status. Okay, then you should be tracking things like your average agent productivity, what your average company dollar is per closing unit, how's an agent, as long as an agent with you before they leave, so you know your overall retention rate, your overall churn rate, what your lifetime value is of every single agent, all important, essential things that you need to go out there and track, plus then making sure that your agents have the trackers that they need. Right. So you got to track each element of this game. I mean, so much of success happens in spreadsheets. I know it's the unfun, unsexy thing, but you got to have that dialed in. And then from there, you need to make sure that you have a system and process-based business. You will never create a machine. You will never have a highly valuable sellable product. You will never have something that you can really, step away from if you don't nail the systems and processes component of this. So processes is just step-by-step documentation of everything A to Z when it comes to our overall strategies. So anything done more than once inside your organization needs a documented process. Then those processes live inside your systems. The systems then ensure that our processes are executed on the same way each and every single time. Right. So we get the same replicatable results, the same experience every single time. And I don't care how good your like people are that you hire, you don't have world-class systems and processes to plug into. It's very difficult for you to show them their greatness. Then from there, as a leader, okay, if you want to be able to inspect it, what you expect, and make sure that your people are doing their job and winning, right? You don't want to have to micromanage your people. You want to manage the systems that manage the people. The systems manage the people, hold your people accountable, and your job is to inspect what you expect through the systems. So you got to make sure that you're nailing component number 5 and have everything inside your organization documented, a process around it. Have that process live inside of a system. So now you're a system-based business. And then from there, every essential KPI in your business is being tracked and measured. Okay, so then step number 6. Once you nail those first 5 steps, right, then boom, your business starts to take off. You start to grow, greatly scale from a productivity standpoint, agent count standpoint. Step number 6 is being able to know when to plug in the right ancillaries inside your business. First thing is just to understand ancillaries, but then you got to know, okay, at what point does it make sense to plug in what specific ancillary? So your ancillaries, and this is how you go out there and you get paid 5 times per transaction versus just once. One of the biggest mistakes that teams and brokerages make is they try to just make money off of, commission checks, just off company dollar. That's just one revenue source. Like with my coaching clients, I want to get them, as far as team leaders and brokerage owners, I want to get them up to 5 revenue sources as quickly as possible. So, okay, your agent splits would be one revenue source. Then from there, okay, doing strategic partnerships with, like an example, mortgage, doing a strategic partnership with title. Maybe it's insurance. Maybe you open up a property management leg. Maybe you're buying the building and then leasing out office spaces in there. That's not just covering the cost of the building and offsetting that cost, but it's a profit center for you. There's a lot. Maybe you're doing a strategic partnership with a home warranty, and there's a lot of different ways to go out there and do different ancillaries in your business. But thinking of this like a movie theater. Okay, you go to the movie theater, you buy your box office tickets. You buy the movie tickets. Okay, that's one source of revenue for the movie theater. But it'd be very difficult for a movie theater to get rich off of selling movie tickets after they got, margins are very thin. They got to go, share those with the box office, and whatever. But then from there, okay, same building, same staff, same point of sale software, so all same vertical. Now what are they doing? They're upselling you soda. They're upselling you popcorn. They're upselling you candy. They're upselling you all these other services that make your experience a better, more enjoyable experience that they know that you're going to want and need as you go through that experience, they're upselling you those, these are just add-ons, ancillary services, if you will, that become instant profit, profitability money makers for them. The quickest way to more revenue isn't more transactions. It's by increasing ticket item per transaction, right? So then from there, and the key here is as you're adding these ancillaries is to not add other jobs to your plate, right? This is why, I specifically said that strategic partnerships. So maybe this is like a joint venture with mortgages. Like, let's just use mortgage as an example because it's one of the most popular. Okay, so now your agent is, you're making X after this split with that commissions on this deal. But then on top of that, let's just say they use your mortgage company. Now after, because you're a 50% owner in that mortgage company. So after all said and done, you net another $2,800, let's just say. Then maybe they use your title company. And after all said and done, you net another $700 on that. Yeah, right. So now you got paid 3 times off of one closing, not just once. Now, the key here, again, is making sure you're doing strategic partnerships. So I'll use, again, the mortgage example there is, okay, the joint venture that I'm going to do with the mortgage company, their job and their 50% of the partnership is to go out there and do the loan, right? Do the loan, do the underwriting, provide all of that infrastructure, right? My job is the joint venture partner is to grow agent count and then encourage and get our agents carry the flag, if you will, to get our agents to go out there and start utilizing our internal mortgage company. So then from there, when it comes to doing these joint ventures, a mistake that I see so many make is they're just thinking about profit. But here's the thing is, and profit is very important. Do not get me wrong. Profit is extremely important. However, you need to first make sure that you are partnering with absolutely amazing vendor partners that do and execute on a brilliant job for your agents and your buyer and seller clients inside your organization. The cool part is when you have ownership in those companies, you can dictate what those processes are. So it's not just that, we're providing the service. Okay, we're providing like our agents and our agents' clients and our team in brokerage, right? Like they already need mortgage companies, they already need title companies. Okay, well, if I can make sure that we are providing them a far superior service, through our processes and being able to pick and choose what loan officers and all of this stuff that we want. So that, not only is it these services that they need anyway, we're making sure that the process is done right. We're providing them superior service. It's a great, amazing experience for our agents, great, amazing experience for buyer and seller clients. And then on top of that, the bonus is, man, you get an extra profit center inside your business. So making sure that you're nailing those ancillaries, because if you're just trying to make money off of company dollar, meaning, whatever your comp structure is with commission splits or whatever you're charging there per transaction fees or splits or whatever that is, that's going to be a very difficult way to go out there and make a bunch of money in this business, right? Like every smart operator understands the power of the ancillaries. No different than just start breaking down every business that you do business with. They all do this, right? Like all smart operators, all smart businesses do this. I don't know, you go buy a car. Okay, now they're, getting you back in there for, oil changes and servicing and, all of those other things, right? Or you go buy an airline ticket. Okay, then now they're upselling you luggage, and then they're upselling you Wi-Fi, and then they're maybe buying a cocktail and, all those different things, right? Those end up being additional add-on money makers that might make it a better experience or be something that's a necessary, essential component of whatever it is that you're doing there. Okay, I go buy, an iPhone. Yeah, right. Well, like Apple isn't, I don't know if they still are, but, the or close to the wealthiest company to ever exist on the planet because of selling freaking iPhones, right? No, they're selling all the accessories, and then they got iTunes, and then they got like all this other upsell, all this other bullshit, right? Within there. So step number 6 is being able to identify and then know, though, because there's going to be right times to do this stuff. Yeah, right. So you got to be able to guard your focus and be able to, know which ones to add at the right appropriate times inside your team, inside your brokerage. But you nail these 6 fundamentals, man, you will scale a massively, highly profitable, highly successful real estate team or real estate business that allows you to create a true business where, again, you can make the money that you want to make, but then have the autonomy and freedom to go out there and enjoy life. Because I'm not sure about you, but, most people that I meet, including myself, we don't live to go out there and work. We work so we can go out there and live and create the lives that we want to go out there and create for ourselves and for our family and make the money that we want to make, but then go out there and have those experiences. And if you play this right, you do this right, you 100% can go out there and do this. All right, so I'm going to end it with this. I know I talked about this earlier, but I want to end it with this just in case this is you. Look, if you are stuck inside your real estate business and you do not know exactly what you need to do to get from where you're at to where you want to go, I encourage you and invite you to schedule a 100% free Zoom coaching call with me personally. It's going to be a 60-minute call with you and I. And we are going to do a deep dive in your business. And I promise you this, I got your back. I will get you dialed in. I'm not here to waste your time. I will make this an amazing experience where you do not leave this free Zoom coaching call with not knowing exactly what you must do to get from where you're at to where you want to go. And I don't care what level you're at. Maybe you're brand new. Maybe you're part-time. Maybe you're a seasoned individual agent. Maybe you're a team leader, mega team leader, brokerage owner, mega brokerage owner. Like I promise you, I'm going to bring massive, massive value and help you get your business to that next level. Like I said, I'm going to make sure that I'm breaking down and mapping out based on where your business is at, what you're currently doing, what your goals are, what my recommended strategy is to get you from where you're at to where you want to go in the quickest, most effective, efficient, profitable manner possible. So if you want to schedule that, go to www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call, or wherever you're watching and listening to this. If you just scroll below into the description or the show notes, boom, it'll be that top link right there. So make sure to go schedule that right away. Because like I said, I'm here to support and help any way I possibly can. No reason that you should be operating in a place of confusion or you should be struggling. I'm throwing you the lifeline right now, man. I'm here for it. I will get you dialed in. And even if you're not struggling, like maybe you're doing well, but look, maybe there's a much better, efficient, more profitable, effective way to go out there and do this. Like you have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. So again, if you want to schedule that, www.gsdmode.com/Zoom call. All right, guys, I got a jam. I got to go jump on stage here at a speaking event here in Scottsdale, but I truly appreciate you being here. Truly appreciate watching this. Keep crushing, keep kicking ass. I will see you next time. Peace.